What if Babel wasn't mainly about a tower? What if it was about who gets to author your name? Day 4 of reading the Bible chronologically was Genesis chapters 11 through 14. And one contrast completely changed the way I read it. Quick note before I start. With this series, I'm trying to read the Bible chronologically and let the story unfold as it comes. Not constantly reading later theology backward into every earlier chapter before I get there. At Babel, humanity says, "Let us make a name for ourselves." Then, almost immediately afterward, God tells Abram, "I will bless you and make your name great." Read those together. Humanity says, "We will make ourselves something." God says, "Let me make something of you." That's Babel. Not just bricks, not just a tower. It's the human instinct to build enough, achieve enough, control enough, become impressive enough, that eventually we don't have to depend on God. And here's the uncomfortable part. Babel had unity, one language, one culture, one shared vision. But Genesis has already told us the human heart is fallen, so what happens when corrupt people become perfectly united? They don't automatically become good. They just become more powerful. Then God scatters them, and instead of building another empire to replace theirs, he calls one man, Abram. And he doesn't give Abram a tower, he gives him a command. Go, leave what you know. Walk towards a place I haven't shown you yet. Babel stays because it wants security. Abram leaves because he has a promise. And Genesis makes it even more human, because Abram gets scared in Egypt and tries to control the outcome himself. The man who trusted God enough to leave home still struggles to trust him when survival feels threatened. But later, something changes. After rescuing Lot, the king of Sodom offers Abram wealth. Abram refuses it, because he doesn't want the king ever saying, "I made Abram rich." Do you see that growth? At first, Abram tries to protect God's promise himself. Later, he refuses a shortcut, because he is beginning to trust who actually gave him the promise. And then there's Lot. Lot looks towards Sodom. The land looks almost like Eden, beautiful, prosperous, abundant. Sometimes we think that Sodom was this disgusting city. It was not. Its heart was corrupted, but it was blessed. It was blessed with abundance, but underneath it, wickedness. Which means Genesis is teaching something painfully relevant. What looks blessed is not always good. What looks united is not always righteous. What looks like success may actually be another tower. So day 4 left me with this. Maybe the opposite of Babel isn't failure. Maybe the opposite of Babel is faith. Babel says, build your identity. God says, receive it. Babel says, secure yourself. God says, follow me. Babel says, make your own name. God says, I will give you one. Maybe coming home to God begins when we finally stop asking, how high can I build? And start asking, what do I need to leave behind so I can follow?